He says we are standing still, running on the spot. We need to move into the jog, eventually a run, and hopefully into a sprint. To get that change requires us to do the difficult things.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
good
easy.
luck.
It's easy.
Easier said than done.
It's easy to say.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of Yahoo Footballing Weekly with me, Yahoo columnist Neil Humphreys.
And me, Yahoo editor Chia Keong. And here we have Hatta,
Hello, everyone. Hi.
new guest.
Welcome back, Hatta.
Thank you.
Again, for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, just remind them what you do.
I do football boot reviews at boothype.com, so catch us there. And I also write some of the news reports for the Ars blog, which is a very popular Arsenal blog and not the places where you look for Yes. So don't be disappointed if it's just managing expectations.
It's a very famous blog.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And
Managing
also,
expectations.
making ours very famous is you, our wonderful listeners and viewers. As always, we thank you for that, because without you, we wouldn't have our sponsor, StarHub. And just for you, we've got another special deal.
So, if you can get Premier Plus, just the Premier League, but why stay there?
Yeah.
You can get a lot more with the Sports Plus packages. You can watch not only Premier League, you can watch UEFA Champions League. You can even watch Saudi League if you want to. You can, if you are a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, why not? And you can also watch the US League. And now Lionel Messi is there, so you can catch the Lamahan US Open Cup that's happening right now. So all you have to do is to sign up for StarHub's Premier League packages plus Sports Pass, and you can also get a broadband bundle which also comes with free Netflix and Disney Plus channels.
Brilliant.
Good deal.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
The least we can do for you wonderful guys, the comments this week.
Oh.
I was looking just at
Gets better and better.
TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok alone. So many comments week after week. Thank you as always. This wonderful man here, Keong, has picked out some of the best ones.
Yeah. And I tell you, I enjoy picking out all the good comments from y'all.
And we don't even mind some of the bad ones.
Bad ones are fine. Bad ones are fine. So we get this from Mr. at FrankieGo8385. For Albirex, can I suggest they change their name from to Albirex Yuhua or Albirex Jurong? This is because they're going to become a more fully localized team in the next season. So that will be a great story if they enter the continental competition and meet their parent club Albirex Niigata from J1.
Yeah. Let's deal with that first, because then he talks about futsal. There are
Correct,
two good points. I am 100% on board with this. You know what I'm going to say, right? Albirex should rename
because they have a very good grassroots base.
Correct.
Yeah.
Number one is Niigata is obviously a city in Japan.
Yep.
And if you're not got that affiliation with Niigata, no point. Albirex, I looked it up. Albiro means star, and Rex is obviously king in Latin. So star kings of Yuhua or Jurong, I'm completely on board.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, community engagement, as you said, right? My biggest obsession in Singapore with local football is you've got to build from the ground up. Hougang works when they're at Hougang Stadium because everything is Hougang. The name, the MRT, the shopping mall, the stadium, the streets that surround it. Hougang.
Please put them back once that's
same with Tampines, and dare I say it also, the same with Woodlands and Sembawang before them. You've got to build from the bottom up. So Albirex, yes, whatever local name you agree on, 100% localize.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. You on board? All right, what's the next point?
The next point he makes, for futsal, I think the current state of the game here is unacceptable. Especially since we are actually the pioneers of futsal in this region when we organized the Tiger Fives. You got a good story out for that, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you have that story. And with so many sports hall, I don't see why and how difficult it is to have a local professional futsal league if there is a will. We might not even start with a normal home and away league, but get those corporates to sponsor a team, then give them the team's naming rights, and then play tournaments at different venues each week, ATP tour style.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
There is actually one very interesting, I won't say tournament, but they're very fun games that they organize. They're quite popular on TikTok. My team has played a match there. I think Kampong Buangkok, who you guys had on
last
this,
week,
have also played these just friendly games. These guys called SKCC. Check them out on TikTok. So they do fun highlights and all that. So, but they call SKCC because they're playing at Sengkang CC. It's cheaper as well.
I've seen them there. I've seen them there.
So they're pretty fun, and I think it's right for it's a great time for people to come in and do these kind of
disparate tournaments.
Of course,
I think it's trying to bring them together to form like a more like organized kind of like yearly thing. I think that will be the right way to go.
I mean, if the government talks a lot about, unleash raw, all these things, why couldn't you sponsor one big fancy one?
Yeah.
A lot of pitches, and I work with some of them, right? Work with people like the Cage, and I'm sure they're keen to host these things.
Yeah.
They're very community driven as well, and they love their customers. So why wouldn't they? I think that's a good start. FAS, if you're listening, it's a good opportunity.
Are they listening?
They
They listen to us every week.
All five of them. Those guys, but you can start small, like guys like SKCC, great initiative.
They've
right?
already done before with Tiger Futsal 5, right?
For sure.
Well, the Tiger Fives, I have to give credit to who gave us this comment this week? Frankie. Frankie, you took me right back to my early days because I'd forgotten completely about the Tiger Fives. You had as well, right?
Yeah.
And I looked it up and I Googled Tiger Fives to look at the history, and the articles were written by me. Right? I'd
That's 1999. That's your life.
1999, right? I covered it at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. And then I realized I got one of my first scoops at the Tiger Fives. Because it was a semi-final. It was Spain against Brazil. By the way, 5,000 fans there, which we'll get to in a minute, and the atmosphere was magnificent. And I'm sort of in that downstairs, underground, near the change room areas, and I was kind of trapped there. I got there by mistake. I got lost because I was a rookie reporter and I couldn't get out. Then the Spanish and the Brazilians have a full-blown punch-up right in front of me. And I'm the only journalist there. They don't know I'm a journalist, right? They're kicking each other, they're throwing punches because apparently, and I have to get this right, even though it was 20 plus years ago for libel reasons, an opponent had gone to the Spanish bench just before the end of the match, walked past the Spanish bench, and in Portuguese, shouted out a very common slur, which was, "You're all sons of prostitutes." Right? So they've let this fester. And then backstage, it turned into the Karate Kid. I mean, they were flying kicks, flying punches. And I'm calling our editor at the Straits Times. I'm watching it right now. I'm punch up right now. And so I took it down and got my first scoop, if you like. But reading those stories again, Kelvin Pung wrote one of them, a few other ST journalists. The final, and this is the important point, that final at the indoor stadium had 8,000 fans there.
Wow.
Don't tell me we don't have an interest. Build it and they will come, right? So why can't we bring something back like the Tiger Fives? Yeah. Call it whatever you like. Sponsor it whoever you like, right? You can play your matches around Singapore, your round robin matches in Sengkang and elsewhere, right? Play them, then get the knockout stages to the indoor stadium, play them over 2 days, 1 day, whatever, back to back. You'll fill that stadium. Build it, they will come, get a sponsor involved. Why can't we have a national futsal tournament at the indoor stadium?
I would say you could even make it more interesting and change the format a little bit. Have you heard of the Kings League by Gerard Piqué? Fantastic program. So it's a 7-side game, but he gamifies it. He's building it for the gaming generation, right? So he'll have 10 minutes in. Okay, the next goal, value 2 goals or something, right?
I'm starting to twitch already.
But you get what I'm saying, right? So I understand. You're curious. I get it, right? But you could also go to entertainment value and throw these bits as well. So, I'm
open to that. I mean, they do something similar to basketball. They used to do the And One tournaments in the Philippines where you play hip hop music at the same time. Yeah. I'm all for that. That's great. Just to add something different and build
Bring some cheerleaders from Taiwan.
Where did that come from?
He filmed a 2-minute video and it went viral.
Wow. Where did this come from? But sometimes we've got to just be a bit creative in finding ways to draw crowds in. Quite often we look to Europe as a model, but we should look to countries like the US as well, who pride on driving people in through entertainment.
Family events. I agree.
Family events and
couldn't agree
make
more.
it a day out, right?
Couldn't agree more. There's no reason that Singapore Indoor Stadium, no disrespect, is empty half the time anyway, right?
Yeah.
a full weekend of futsal-like games with DJs,
Carnival
hip-hop,
outside.
carnival,
Yeah, so
absolute
Sports
no-brainer.
Hub or FAS do something about it.
Yeah, because I always thought about this, right? We have some SPL games on Wednesdays or weekdays. Who's gonna come and watch it, right? Really, weekday evening, so people have lives to live, right? But if you do like once a month a highlight game of the month, you have we love our carnivals, we love our chat markets. Why don't you make it a big day out for the family to come in, subsidize your tickets, get a coupon, whatever, right? So you build a big day out of it, get the crowds in, sponsors will love it, right? So everyone wins. The players win.
There's a lot of opportunities.
There's lots of opportunities, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you agree with us? If so, send all your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Right, let's move on. We've got another good comment from Cheng Kai, is that right?
Cheng Kai. So he said, for Albirex, it will be very difficult to shine after localization. That's how it feels, because they will have to have the same constraints as other local clubs. At best, they can only be Tampines Rovers. Unless Albirex can send tens of young Singaporean kids to study and play football in Japan in a long-term basis, from 12 to 18 or even 19. Then we may be able to see a difference considering the cost, culture, language, and parental care. I'm afraid it's still very difficult. It's a very strange idea though. I mean, the whole point is not to Japanify Singapore players, but to bring the Japanese methods of the way they run football clubs, the way they run the academies,
The community engagement.
To bring it up the next level in Singapore.
What's in it for Albirex to do that in Singapore? That's a question mark that I have. I don't know, right? Because we spoke of air about the objective of Albirex in Singapore was to blood nursery, right? So blood their players, fringe players. They're good enough to go back and they can play for the first team.
But I think they always have a plan, long-term plan, since they joined in 2004 to eventually have a team that's built predominantly of local players.
And can play in AFC tournaments.
And eventually they can play.
At the moment they can't. Yeah.
So they've taken a while. They started off with substandard Japanese players. Now they got even better. Now their training methods are getting better. They got a great coach in the team. And then finally now they say, okay, our infrastructure, our grassroots things are done properly already. Now we're going to convert into a more localized team.
Yeah.
That's actually a very long-term plan. Japanese are known for their long-term plans. You told me about the J League.
Maybe
100-year plan.
Maybe too long, but yeah. Maybe too long, but yeah.
So I'm not sure whether now is the right time to turn, but I feel they feel that it's the right time. So fair play to them.
We'll see what happens. I'm curious to see how it develops.
I said last week, I'll say it again, I don't see an issue with the localization of Albirex because it will answer that argument once and for all, settle the argument, they are only successful because they have Japanese players. Well, next year we'll find out, won't we? We'll find out if it is that or is it down to...
Or whether Mr. Cheng
club
is correct or not. This reader is correct or not. We'll see.
Yep, let us know. All right, what's the next one?
Okay, next one I pick up because I felt something and I had to say about this.
Go on, Hankyo.
I said so Miss Hiroyuki Shinchi 9873 Shinichi. He has also been writing regularly to us. Thanks very much. I think Neil and HK mentioned this before, that in other countries, football is seen as a springboard, whereas in Singapore, it is seen as a hindrance or potential pitfall.
I've got something to say about this as well.
Even though South Korea, Japan, and the UK are certainly not poor countries, but not every part is Gangnam or Tokyo or London. They all still have poorer rural areas, agricultural areas, where job opportunities may not promise good pay. In Singapore, there is no rural urban. It is that small. If a Singapore football player just started his career with $2,000 plus, even a durian shop assistant can probably earn $2,000 a month. Simply put, to go pro in Singapore, in football in Singapore, is a sacrifice. But to go pro in football in most other countries is a dream.
All sports, I think. You can say for all sports.
You can say for all sports.
Yeah, in Singapore.
And after I read this, I was like, I feel that, yes, our podcasts have been bringing up a lot of issues about Singapore football, how tough it is with NS, how FAS have its own problems and issues, and how the Lions are actually not doing well. But the whole point is the whole point of this podcast is not to discourage youngsters to join football, to make football as a career. No,
100%.
Far from it. We are holding this podcast, and especially this local part, is to let you know that there are some difficulties, but be aware of them, plan ahead. Parents or even the player, be aware of this situation, and try your best to overcome it. It's not say I there's so many problems, I'm not going to play football anymore. That's not the way. That's not a positive manner you should approach. If you are really that passionate about football, you should try to overcome these problems. That's why I feel after I read.
I agree completely, and I appreciate the sentiment, but I just feel sometimes, why does everything in Singapore have to come back to money? Why is it always money? And I'm going to put my Ang Mo hat on one time and say that almost every kid growing up in the UK, I guarantee you, is not thinking about money when they're kicking a ball around the park or the garden or the local whatever. They're not, because there's a reason it's called the impossible dream, right? I looked this up. 0.012%, right? Remember that. That's the number, the percentage of kids who actually play in the EPL in the UK. 180 of the 1.5 million boys playing organised football in the UK play a minute in the Premier League. 0.012%. You have got almost as much chance in the UK of being struck by lightning as you have of becoming an EPL footballer. So this myth, this absolute myth that you're somehow on a better pathway in the UK than in Singapore is just that, a myth. If you want to be a professional footballer and earn a living out of it, just that, you've got more chance in Singapore than you have in England. So we have got to stop using this money argument as an excuse. If you want to play, play. If you don't want to play, don't play. But don't keep using money as an excuse.
How many England players are playing in the lower leagues at a lower pay than whatever you find in the Premier League?
This idea that we're all driving Ferraris in the UK is a myth. The top elite percentage are, just like in any sport in the world, golf, basketball, whatever. But you've got your bread and butter type guys playing lower leagues all over the world.
I feel it's a cultural thing as well. From a young age, money is a very big thing in Singapore, right?
Obviously.
More so than a lot of other countries. And it's also very expensive to live in Singapore as well. So you can't help but think of money. But you're absolutely right. If you love something, I run my own businesses as well, and you would face a lot of similar issues, right? A lot of barriers.
But you got to face the challenges.
You got to face challenges. You got to take them one day as it comes, and do what you can. And you have to realize the realities of going up that next level of your career. It's always going to be challenging, but you've always got to find that next opportunity and do the best you can. That's all you can do, right?
Well, I mean, I literally put my money where my mouth is. I'm an author. And at no step of the way did I think, how much money am I going to earn pursuing this career? You either do it because you want to or you don't. But let's not keep using money as a fallback. That's a good point. As a shield, as a get-out clause. But as always, let us know what you think. Right, speaking of money, we're getting some Thai baht into the country. What's happening?
So Tampines Rovers, who are one of the top teams in Singapore, they have just signed a sort of like an agreement with BG Pathum of Thailand League. BG Pathum is the former Bangkok Glass team, and they are a huge team in Thailand. Won the league several times. They have Irfan Fandi, Iksan Fandi, Ryan Stewart in the team. Chanatip Songkrasin, probably the best Thai player, is in the team. So that team is like, it's like JDT or Lion City Sailors of Singapore. And they've signed an agreement so that they have a 3-year agreement so that Tampines can go to Thailand to use BG Pathum's facilities and stuff. But it's like BG will also sponsor resources, whatever. And according to Straits Times report, it say in 3 years' time, they might be looking at BG actually buying the whole Tampines club from Hyundai, from Komoko Motors, and eventually maybe privatizing it, just like Lion City Sailors are. So So it's an interesting development now. So in 3 years' time, who knows what might happen?
Yeah.
But it's kind of greeted with a lukewarm reaction on the social media. Some fans are like celebrating it as like a great development, and maybe Singapore's the Tampines Rovers are going to be even fighting even more harder for the title in the future. But some are saying, it's like a Thailand club trying to buy over. It's almost like a Premier League club, a foreign millionaire, foreign entities trying to buy over a Premier League club. That kind of sentiments like, why are they buying a club? Will Tampines eventually lose its name, like that, lose the Tampines name? All the worries start to come up. It's a very interesting situation. Yeah.
What do you think, Hatta?
Well, talking about losing its identity and all that, I think you can't compare. I mean, you're from the UK and it's very different. Those are really community clubs first, right? And you really feel the community. They are not at such scale, right? I think overall it's good for Singapore football. Yeah. You've seen the kind of investment that LCS has made. Right, the academy. A lot of my friends have the kids there. They're from Sweden.
The academy is a bloody success.
And for me, I'm not as sold on specific teams in SPL. For me, I'm quite a big fan of Singapore football and wanting overall to raise. And I believe with this, it's going to be a sale in 3 years' time. It will mean better resources, better knowledge transfers as well of how to run a club, football operations. I think overall it will be good. Hopefully they keep that same vibe. The Tampines fans are great. The community is fantastic. I hope they can keep that. But overarching from a macroeconomic scale, I think that's a good move for Singapore football as
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with both of you, actually. And to those griping about the so-called loss of local culture in Singapore football, all I would say to anyone cynical about this deal between Tampines and Pathum is just think where the Singapore Premier League would be today without Lion City Sailors and Albirex. We would be barely solvent. I'm not even sure we'd still be going, if I'm being completely frank, right? Where would the money be coming from? We don't have a choice. Beggars can't be choosers, right? Beggars can't be choosers right now. In an ideal world, we'd have 8-10 clubs, all locally financed, all locally produced. We don't. And here's the hypocrisy about this, right? How many times has James Wharton from Deloitte come on this show and said, where are our local investors? Where are our government-linked companies? If they were investing like Bangkok Glass, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If they were investing in the way that Forest Lee is investing or the way that Albirex has been investing, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the fact that local investment is not coming forward is why we need money from Thailand. And you can't have it both ways.
And Komoko Motors has already gone out of their way to sponsor Tampines for 20 over years already. I mean...
if you're passionate about it, I think there are two levers you can do. I think if fans are so passionate, then because these private companies also need to see return on investments, right? They're not a charity, right?
But government-linked companies are supposed to do their ESG and are supposed to be involved in the community.
That's the difference. That's where they should come in. Fans could show their support, watch the live streams, come by. The atmosphere is great. Matches are fun to watch, actually. Matches are fun. The matches are fun, right? So there are ways as an individual fan, if you're so passionate about losing the identity, come by. I have friends who are volunteering with Geylang, for instance.
Put your money where the mouth is.
I mean, if the community is so important, then why don't you be part of the community and make that change as well?
I couldn't agree more. You can't have it both ways. You can't have no local investment and then complain when foreign investment comes in. It's
and that's exactly what FAS President Bernard Tan said during his appointment. I know he's been re-elected unopposed. And then he's got at the Congress, he made like 3 key areas which he wants to improve Singapore football. That's our next point. And he listed the 3 areas. Obviously, the first one he already said, more money from the private sector. That's what we've been talking about.
Correct.
And that's his key area. The other key area, making sure stakeholders have aligned interests, which means from academy to youth teams to the national team, they have the same target of making Singapore football better. Fair enough. Okay. And the last point is to have having enough playing fields. So because the context is the Unleash the Raw project is going to need a lot more playing fields from the base. That's why they want to give a bit more. They want to have more playing fields, and he's looking for more. And hopefully he says, I mean, he wants to do it. Good luck to him. He says we are standing still, running on the spot. We need to move into the jog, eventually a run, and hopefully into a sprint. To get that change requires us to do the difficult things.
Yep.
Okay,
it's
good
easy.
luck.
It's easy.
Easier said than done.
It's easy to say.
Easier said than done.
So we spoke about money.
It's still the NS problem, and still got a lot of China getting the Chinese to play football
I guess,
problem.
NS and money. Okay, you can't change that, right? So the high hanging fruit. Don't want to talk about that, right? Money from private sector. We spoke about it, right? So you also got to give value back to the private sector.
Yeah.
What value can you do that the visitation is not high? But as I said just now, if you could have a bit more innovation, make it a day out, one highlight game of the month, carnival style, family day out, get the, you're helping local businesses as
Which
well.
they do in the J League.
They do. I've visited some J League games, right? So you have local pasar malam style, businesses, you get coupons for these, you make a big day out of it, there's so many things you can
They
do,
play
right?
one match a month at the National Stadium. Then the Sports Hub, the OCBC.
All businesses win, all
yeah.
communities win.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will be excited to come by. They're talking about funding. You should fund these things, not have, SPL games on Wednesday, Tuesday nights or whatever, right? I'm serious. And then with, stakeholders alignment, one challenge I have sometimes is, with our organizations, government organizations, Unleash the Raw, they're not always also clear what the objectives are. I mean, make Singapore football great. Yeah, okay. No government initiative is going to come out and say, this program is going to make things worse, right? No one says that. But even if you listen, like, okay, skills future. Oh, it's meant to help upskill, blah, 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 get you to work better, blah, 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 blah. At least you know what it is for, right? And it's very clear what these programs are, but stuff like Unleash the Raw, what is it that we're trying to do? If you can say stuff like, okay, in the next 20 years, we move from rank 150 to 100 on FIFA rankings.
That's a good
and
point.
to do it, we need to do da. Okay, we get it. I'm behind it. But it's a bit vague. So when you say we need all stakeholders to be aligned, I'm for it, but it starts with you guys. And say,
Set the
okay,
agenda.
Yeah, because I don't even know what the agenda is, right?
There's only one thing of those three that I'm interested in. Which one?
Is it the playing field?
Yeah. I'm only interested in playing spaces until you can talk about stakeholders and corporate investment. If you can't play, you can't play. Everything else is academic. And, this is not an Angmor thing. When I go back to England, the first thing I do is I contact my brothers and I say, let's play football. They'll find a field. Open field, and we just play. It costs me nothing. And all the cousins get together, my daughter gets together, we just kick a ball around. It's great fun for a couple of hours. You can't do that here. You just can't. You used to be able to, but you just can't. And before anyone gives me the Angmor criticism, I didn't grow up in some, atas countryside. I grew up on a housing estate in East London.
Just like us.
It's not like I have a football field on every street corner, but every
well,
housing estate in England
That's
and Australia and any developed nation will have a field of sorts somewhere nearby. We don't. Unless we unlock all of our school pitches and all of our active SG pitches and every green space available to the public at weekends to hire, rent, whatever, or just use freely, everything else doesn't matter to me.
MOE, do something.
If you haven't got somewhere to play, you can't play.
Yeah.
Fix that FAS and then we'll go from there.
And MOE too.
With MOE as well, there's a challenge because who takes responsibility for that pitch over the weekends? And it's my superintendent.
Hire more security guards.
It becomes that, right? Yeah.
We are one of the richest
Cigarettes.
nations per head of population, GDP, all that crap, right? We can't pay a few bucks to manage a few MOE pitches, cut the grass, maintain, put some seed down. No, nonsense. Make it work. But let us know what you think. As always, send your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Because this is my favourite story of the week. The floor is yours, Keong.
So, to the FAS president, you know how difficult it is to improve Singapore football. Here's the best example.
This is great. This is great.
So, Singapore Cup, Hougang versus Tanjong Pagar. Monday, I think it was Monday. Yeah, so the score was 1-1 heading into the end of the game. Just before the stoppage time, this Hazwan Halim of Hougang raced into the box, and then the goalkeeper comes out, Tanjung Pagar, they clash together. Stonewall penalty.
They don't just clash. The keeper practically kills him.
The keeper slams into him and flattens him. Flattens Hazwan. The referee doesn't give a penalty. Okay, doesn't give. Then obviously the suddenly he got called from VAR, say, hey, we better check the monitor. There might be an issue of penalty.
And this is after the clearest penalty you'll ever see in your lifetime.
Okay, fair enough. We might have made a mistake. So it goes to the screen, and then suddenly he fiddles at the screen. And then he's like, you can see the video. And then one technician comes out.
Young girl, right?
Young girl technician comes out, and then he was like, look at it. I think the VAR was broken.
Yeah, and they were looking at the way your uncle looks at a TV and tries to fix the remote control.
Yeah. And so they couldn't do anything about it. And then the referee said, I give up. I couldn't make a decision. I give up. No penalty. The most stonewall penalty becomes no penalty. And that's not
There's
more. Okay? So there was a long stoppage time of 10, 12 minutes of stoppage time because of that incident. And Tanjung Pagar scored their winning goal during the stoppage time via an own goal. Hougang defenders scored an own goal.
Yeah.
So they won 2-1. Hougang lost because of a VAR malfunction in Singapore.
We have 5G,
Uniquely
5G.
Singapore.
Uniquely Singapore.
But not just that, I think yesterday the games as well. I think the LCS game live stream as
the
well.
The Lion City games, they won 7-0 over Balestier Causa.
But you couldn't watch half the games.
Half of the game they couldn't.
You couldn't watch half the games, half the goals you couldn't watch, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about
basics, basics of a professional league.
Oh, brilliant. But as always on this podcast, we don't break down. We see it through to the bitter end.
Yes.
Thank you as always for watching.
Please improve.
Yes, please improve. Keep your comments coming. We love it. We're nothing without you. Without you, we wouldn't have a sponsor on StarHub.
Yep.
And we've got a special offer on StarHub. What is it?
Get the Premier League Plus and Sports Plus packages. You can get free broadband, free broadband, and then broadband packages, and then you can get free Disney, free Netflix, and then you can watch UEFA leagues, you can watch Saudi leagues, you can watch US leagues, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, right on your screen.
Brilliant. Hatta, thanks as always.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time, man, guys. Thank you so much.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you again same time next week, because on our show, the technology always works.
We hope. Fingers crossed.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.